Former Secretary of State John Kerry is living a private life now, but he may be mulling a return to politics because, in his words, we're in a moment of crisis. Face the Nation's Margaret Brennan visited Kerry at home on Martha's Vineyard.
This is absolutely gorgeous. Why would you want to leave here and go on the campaign trail?
Because we need to. I don't want to. I need to. You've got to take the time to invest in citizenship. It's that simple.
Even in the calm of Martha's Vineyard, former Secretary of State John Kerry is readying a return to politics and protests.
I'm going to try and be out there helping as many as I can.
The 74-year-old has been out there helping Democrats since President Trump's inauguration.
Because I'm joining in making a statement about not going backwards.
And as far back as 1971, the decorated naval officer became one of the most prominent anti-war demonstrators.
We grew up with them, some of us, and now they're gone. And we have to ask over and over again, why?
He reflects on those times in his new book, Every Day is Extra, published by CBS's Simon & Schuster. The upstart is now an elder statesman and says he hears echoes of Vietnam-era upheaval in today's divided America.
The similarity is not in the Cultural Revolution, but in the cultural divide that is being exploited that is, in fact, limiting, if not diminishing, the capacity of our institutions to work.
This administration has done us the ultimate dishonor.
In fact, it was Kerry's televised Senate testimony against the war that launched the 27-year-old Yale-educated son of a diplomat into the political spotlight.
They have attempted to disown us and the sacrifices we made for this country.
In some ways, from that time forward, Kerry and Vietnam would be forever linked. He served nearly 3 decades as the other senator from Massachusetts. But it was his across-the-aisle relationship with the late Republican Senator John McCain that he says he considers among his most meaningful.
John McCain and I, together, tried to figure out, how do we make peace in America? How do we get America to be at peace with itself over Vietnam?
Together, the two veterans worked to locate Americans missing in action and use that toehold to thaw relations between the U.S. and Vietnam.
We were privileged to be in a position to try to heal our country's wounds, and I think to set an example for how people from different parties could come together and put the interests of our nation and the United States Senate front and center.
Let's compare Senator McCain to candidate McCain.
At times, they also clashed.
Candidate McCain says he would vote against the immigration bill that Senator McCain wrote. Are you kidding me, folks?
Like during the 2008 presidential campaign. But you may be surprised to learn that during his own 2004 presidential bid, Kerry says he considered the late Arizona Republican as a running mate.
There were difficult issues to try to work out. We kind of flirted, but didn't go on a date.
The vice president he chose, North Carolina Senator John Edwards, ultimately disappointed him on the campaign trail, and later when he was caught up in a sex scandal.
If you measure the qualities that you're looking for when you choose a vice president, it wasn't what we had hoped for.
Crimes committed on a day-to-day basis.
He betrayed us in the past. How could we be loyal to him now?
But Kerry's presidential run may be best remembered for those inflammatory Republican ads questioning his Vietnam service record.
Do you regret not fighting back harder against the Swift boat attack ads?
Yes, I believe it was vital, particularly in the last days of the campaign, to be addressing advertisements that were such a grotesque distortion of the reality of what happened in the rivers of Vietnam.
The most trying time of his life, Kerry says, was his 1988 divorce from first wife Julia Thorne, mother of his 2 daughters.
Some people shed wives or husbands the way they take off a coat. That's not me. It's a tough process, and I hated it.
He found love again with current wife Teresa Hines Kerry, who has been camera shy since suffering a seizure in 2013.
She's still got a couple of health challenges that she's taking on, but she's doing great. We are in a moment of crisis for our country. The world is in a moment of crisis.
Since entering private life, Kerry has watched the Trump administration unwind much of his legacy, including the Iran nuclear deal and the climate change accord he signed with his granddaughter on his knee. Disappointments that motivate Kerry to help Democrats regain political control, perhaps even with himself as the party's standard bearer.
Are you going to run in 2020?
Talking about 2020 right now is a total distraction and waste of time. What we need to do is focus on 2018. We need to win back the confidence of the country to move in a better direction.
Thank you, John Kerry! Thank you! As John Kerry tells it, sitting on the sidelines now would be the worst thing of all.
Yeah.
What is the future for you, John Kerry?
I'm going to continue to be an activist. I'm going to continue to fight. And we'll see what the format is or what the structure is, but I'm